Hello and welcome to another episode of rokrbox TV. My name is Josh Cunningham. I'm the founder and CEO here at rokrbox. I've got a very special guest for you today, another client success story for you. We're joined by Ford Duncan out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. How's it going today, Ford?
Awesome, man. How are you?
I'm doing excellent. I'm actually joining you from Omaha today. I'm out at the Team Building Summit, which is Jeff Cohn's annual event. I'm speaking on stage tomorrow. So very cool to actually be out and about and, at a hotel, going to a conference, meeting and greeting people face to face. And of course, I know that's where we kind of met a couple of years ago when you attended the event. So I wanted to give Ford a loud, big introduction here, but he said, I'm just a humble guy. I'm just an entrepreneur. And I chose real estate as my path. And so I definitely respect the heck out of that because, entrepreneur to entrepreneur here, it's all about helping people solve problems to, create the freedom in your life for you and your family. So Ford, why don't you kind of give us a little bit of background story here? How'd you get into real estate? I know you said you're an entrepreneur, but why'd you choose real estate and how's everything been going for you for the last couple of years?
Yeah. So I actually started, I was actually in law enforcement. That was where my first degree came from, was a criminal justice degree. And I thought that was going to be my career path. And it was for several years, but found out that the schedule was not conducive to married life. I got married in 2014, the same year I became a police officer. So in 2016, made a family choice to get out of the law enforcement game. And my mom was actually already in real estate. So I was able to get my license prior to actually going full time. I started just kind of sending referrals her way. The license was like, hey, I can get paid to send my friends to go work with my mom. But once I made that decision in 2016 to actually go full time into it, I quit my W-2 paycheck job, jumped right in, immediately was using Boomtown. So I got pretty familiar with that system, made all the calls, did all the things that, a successful agent does, spent 12, 14 hours a day doing it. And in about 6 months, I built a really solid business. So at that time, our average price point was like $180,000 for a house. And I think I sold 12 or 13 houses in that first, actually only about 9 months of full time. So that was really an exciting way to get started in real estate. But I'll be honest with you, selling real estate is not my passion. My passion is not doing the daily grind. So very quickly, I started listening to a lot of podcasts related to teams. I was already working with my mom. We were a team of two, and we were doing really well. But we catapulted that. We started hiring buyer's agents and became the #1 team at our brokerage. At that time, we were with Berkshire Hathaway in Myrtle Beach. And then, so that was probably 2017 was our first year as a real team there. Won that award, I think 2017, 2018. And then 2019, we had been super inspired by Jeff Cohn and what he was doing there in Omaha. And we started a brokerage in 2019. We had actually listened to a lot of what he and Andy were saying to us. My passion was business building. Real estate was just kind of the avenue that I had taken. So got my mom on board and we opened up shop back in late 2019. So 2020, really weird year to be your first full year as a indie brokerage. And we did start as independent, still are to today. And we killed it. We did 96 deals that first year as a brokerage. I think in that first year, we never had more than my mom, me, and I think maybe 2 or 3 other agents actually selling. We did 96 deals for I think about 15 million.
Wow.
So solid work, especially considering the circumstances we were under. Going into 2021, though, I was extremely passionate about really taking that momentum, taking that excitement that we had as a team and growing it. And so that's where brings us to today, where we've got, including myself and my mom, 13 agents selling real estate. So we went from just the two of us and maybe 2 or 3 other agents to now a total of 13 with some great admin staff as well.
That's awesome. Wow, that's a lot of success in a very short period of time, Ford. I'm very proud of you and excited to also be a part of that. So why don't we talk about that? What were some of the frustrations that you faced? You obviously learned things the right way. You learned things the hard way. You got on the phone, you pounded it out. You realized all the work that goes into scrubbing these online leads and helping identify opportunities that you could actually help people solve those problems and convert some deals. So what were some of the frustrations that we were facing with this fast growing team that caused you to reach out to us at rokrbox and start this relationship?
Yeah. So obviously, I know I'm not saying anything that any veteran manager or broker owner is not familiar with. That is getting agents to make the phone calls. You know, we do tons of accountability with our agents. We meet with them regularly. We're training with them at least once a week, trying to get them on the phones. But as hard as you try, as hard as you work, the more you coach, you can get improvement. But you very rarely get 100%. So what we were wanting to find was a solution to the money that we're pouring out for online leads being somewhat squandered, in that leads weren't being called quickly, they weren't being called frequently, and the quantity of calls just wasn't enough.
Right.
And so interestingly, I know I've talked with a lot of different brokerages that use ISAs as well as ISA services like rokrbox. And some are like us, where we actually only send a small number of leads to rokrbox, whereas some companies actually, all of their inbound leads are filtered through rokrbox, which I actually am starting to kind of like, which you may be happy to hear that. But the start of it was, we just wanted to start with a small percentage of leads that we were generating and see what rokrbox could do to solve the pain point that we were struggling with. So I think we reached out to you guys in March, and I'll also preface this with, I reached out to you guys right after the team building summit back in 2018, and I got scared off by the price. So one big piece of advice I'll throw out there at first, before we get any deeper, is if you're a broker owner, manager, accountability coach, and you're hung up on the price to join rokrbox, I'll tell you, just go ahead and throw that thought out of your mind right now and just keep a really open mind to what you guys offer.
Appreciate that. Yeah, you've always heard the phrase, you pay for what you get, you know, and one of the most important pieces of our solution is we're a human-based solution. We're not just a technology add-on that you can hit copy paste with a bunch of programmers. You're actually hiring real staff. We're training them up, you know, we're holding them accountable. They come into our office environment and they're representing your brand on a daily basis, you know, from our world headquarters. And so it's actual real life human beings that you're hiring, and that's way less scalable than a piece of technology or Excel spreadsheet. So that's you know, one of the reasons associated with the cost is that there is a lot of work that goes into it. And you already hit the nail on the head. We do those 3 things. We call the leads right away. We call them a whole bunch of times, and we stay in touch with them indefinitely. So you decided you got a little scared off on the price back in 2018, but then you reached back out to us in March and you decided you were ready to take the plunge. Why don't you talk us through that process, actually getting up and running with rokrbox?
Yeah, so I was pretty impressed with the just smoothness of the whole process. You know, I've tried a lot of different things. We actually teach our new agents now that the next shiny thing that you get presented with, don't go and jump on that. There's a million of them in the real estate universe. So I've made those mistakes. That's why I'm teaching our agents not to. It was very seamless. Like you can tell that you guys have a really organized onboarding process, which I really appreciate, because we're growing very quickly. We've got a ton of things that are pulling our attention away as broker owners. Having a team at rokrbox who can just very quickly, seamlessly, and not require a whole lot of work from me get us going was probably, and keep in mind we're only in like a month and a half of rokrbox, probably one of the most impressive things so far that I've seen from rokrbox. So that's definitely been a positive for us, is that quick and seamless onboarding.
Very good. Yeah, and just to kind of elaborate on that, all of our accounts are assigned to one of our client care managers, who are one of our full-time staff. They started out with us a long time ago when they were a caller, and they graduated, they stay with us full-time, and now they're in a position to where they essentially own that relationship. They own all the responsibilities to make sure that you're represented well, that the team is hired and trained and staffed and held accountable, so that you have eyes and ears and heart and soul to your lead conversion process. And so your client care manager happens to be Kelsey, and Kelsey has actually been with us for almost 6 years now. She, like I said, started when she was a caller back in college, and we've had her on our team for quite some time now. But now that you've been up and running, you're a month and a half into the process, you're kind of getting a feel for all the calls being made, you're seeing the notes that are taken, you're having some warm opportunities handed off to you. What would you say in reflection of what you've seen so far, and essentially what you would tell to someone else who might be considering signing up for rokrbox?
Yeah, so after the onboarding process, obviously, if we're left on our own, it's not a good recipe for success. Kelsey has been great. She's been available to meet with us as often as we need. She's been a huge help for us in keeping our agents accountable on the follow-up after rokrbox. So that's probably one of the most important things that I would point out to anybody who's considering rokrbox is you guys are not closing the lead for us. You guys aren't taking them on showings. You're not writing the contract. You're qualifying them. You're getting them into the hands of a qualified agent. And that is only as good as those qualified agents can be. If they're not following up with those leads, if rokrbox sends that lead over and it takes that agent 2 days to call that lead, you've undone all the work that rokrbox did, and you've probably lost out on that leads opportunity. So Kelsey's been great about meeting with us on the ramp ups to make sure that our agents are setting the to-dos to follow up with the leads. They're calling the leads quickly after rokrbox identifies the opportunity. We've been really fortunate, I think, at the last ramp up, and this was looking back over 4 to 5 weeks of rokrbox taking around 100 leads a month for us. 39 is the number in my head. It might not be 100% accurate, but I think it was 39 opportunities that had been identified by rokrbox, which I'm told is a very high percentage. That's not necessarily the norm of what you guys see. But then she was able to, dissect what our agents were doing with those opportunities. And I'm proud to say our agents were doing a phenomenal job of actually following up with those. In fact, I think within 2 weeks of rokrbox coming on board in our Boomtown system, we already had a lead pending.
Nice.
And
awesome.
We close, I believe, tomorrow on that lead.
Oh,
so a month and a half in, and we're already going to have our first closing from a rokrbox qualified lead. When going back to like the cost, we talked about that when we had a little meeting prior to me signing up our brokerage. And for me, I'm a numbers guy, and what the cost came down to, I was like, if I get just one closing out of this, it's going to almost pay for the whole thing for a 6-month contract. I was like, that seems doable. And what do you know, 2 weeks in, and we've already got a solid client that's now closing tomorrow.
That's awesome. That's really great. I'm glad to hear that, Ford. And another just sort of thing to highlight here is the name rokrbox. It comes from an old gold mining tool, and so that's what it is. It's a process. You put the sand and the dirt and the gravel through the rokrbox. You find those little flakes of gold, and if you continue this process over and over again, like you said, there's nothing. There's not a magic pill. It's not a shiny object. It's not some genie in a bottle. It's a process, and it needs to be worked. And your agents need to be, good at getting on top of those leads, just like we were to begin with, because that you have to continue that process, because what you're looking for is those few motivated buyers. There's a lot of people out there online searching for homes, opting in to look at pictures of homes. But there's only a few of them that are actually motivated, and so it's just saving the agent's time, getting those hot and motivated leads in their hand, and then letting them pick up right where we left off to, like you said, get them in pending and get them closed ASAP.
Yep.
Well, Ford, this has been a great story. I'm very excited to hear about your success, and very excited to see about where this is going to take you in the future. Any other big plans for 2021, or any other tips or strategies you want to share with the audience today?
Yeah, so hopefully I'll see some folks, some familiar faces at Boomtown's Unite conference. I'm bringing, I believe, 6 of our team are going to that. We're pushing really hard for 2021 to be our best year yet. I hope everybody that's watching this is doing the same, that they're pushing for it and they're gonna hit the goals that they've set for themselves. rokrbox is an awesome tool. I'm really glad we've added that to our arsenal, and look forward to growing the relationship with rokrbox.
I'm certain you will have the best 2021, considering your track record up to this point. And if anybody has a referral from Myrtle Beach, someone looking to buy or sell in the area, how can they get a hold of you, Ford?
So it's easy. It's Ford@DuncanGroupProperties.com, and it's not like Dunkin' Donuts. It's DUNCAN. So Ford@DuncanGroupProperties.com. Just shoot me an email. I'm more than happy to work with your referrals.
Awesome. Glad to hear that. Well, hey, thanks again for your time today, Ford. I know you're a busy guy, and so I appreciate you taking time out of your day to share this success story with us. And we wish you the best of luck in the rest of 2021.
Thank you. Thank you. Enjoy the conference.
Certainly will do. Take care, Ford.
Take care.
All right. Bye.